In this ostensible moment, Nigerian leaders are preaching hope. In his message to Nigerians to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, President Muhammadu Buhari said the end of the war with Boko Haram and bandits is in sight. According to the president, the final victory is within sight as the Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters are on their final stage. Meanwhile, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has urged the federal government to reconsider its program of de-radicalizing and rehabilitating arrested and surrendered terrorists. The National General Secretary of CAN, Joseph Daramola, stated that the program is becoming counterproductive. Jide, before we go into this program to rehabilitate and de-radicalize terrorists, President Muhammadu Buhari is saying that, look, banditry and Boko Haram, that on the final lap, that any moment from now, that the government will defeat these terrorists. From your estimation, you visited the Northeast, you visited some of the theater of war, and do you think President Muhammadu Buhari is right?
I appreciate the president's efforts in providing equipment from the army, because I saw evidence of that when I went to the Northeast. I just returned from Maiduguri some hours ago. I appreciate his concern. I heard where the president was saying that every life lost to insecurity is a big pain to him. I do not doubt that he's pained by the loss of lives. Any father, any parent will be bothered that people are dying in this manner. But I do not agree with the president's claim that banditry and Boko Haram will end soon. We have had that kind of statement a number of times. Even commanders in the theater of war will tell you that, look, we'll finish this war within so time. You can give timelines in the military.
It will be to exit the military.
When he now he now told us that in 20 years, because he never said that when he was chief of army staff, because saying that
when he was being screened as an ambassador,
he said it could take 20 years. I said, oh my God will not let that your prediction come to pass. So people, the truth is we've made progress in the Northeast. And I'm happy to admit it. The sacrifices of our armed forces in the Northeast have not been in vain. There are more attacks now between the factions of Boko Haram against one another than against the military. In fact, they've weakened themselves.
Really?
Yes. The other day,
war. The swap guys and the Shekau guys.
Sometimes the Shekau people will gain upper hand. They'll kill a lot of these guys. Sometimes too, it will be ISWAP that gain up. It all depends on where the battle is conducted. So if you go to the enemy's territory now to attack him and you didn't know that the enemy was prepared, you may get a bloody nose. If you can ambush the enemy. Usually ambushes are one of the most popular strategies of war. You can ambush the enemy, catch him by surprise, and they will lose many of their fighters. These days, since the two leaders did not die, the two leaders of the factions did not die from the Nigerian army efforts. The terrorists themselves took themselves on. Abu Musab al-Banawi went to meet Shekau in his fortress. And with Shekau seeing that he had been surrounded, he took his own life using the suicide belt. That was why Abu Musab al-Banawi, in an audio clip that he posted after the fight, said that Shekau will go to hell because he did what the Quran says no one should do. The Quran does not permit people taking their own lives. It's against the tenets of Islam. So he was attacking him in the audio clip. Now, Abu Musab al-Banawi was also in his own fortress. After he had been announced as the new leader, there was a time that he was removed as leader. Then after his efforts to unify the factions by going to take on Shekau, because that was his goal, that once we take Shekau out, we can unify the factions and then have access to the vast area called Sambisa Forest, because that was where Shekau operated from. They, on their part, were operating on the islands of the Lake Chad. So once he did that, they made him the Amir. That is, ISWAP made him the Amir. ISIS made him the Amir, the leader. But Shekau, remnants of Shekau's people, some of who fled to northern Cameroon when that fight was raging, now went to meet him in his own hideout and fought him. He was injured.
That's Abu
Musab, yes. He now succumbed to his injuries. It wasn't as if the army went there to attack him.
So he died.
He now died from his injuries. So since then, they've been taking on one another. And that has also helped us, because we can only be happy that they are killing one another. Now, the army has had far greater access to Sambisa than before. They've gone there, even places that they didn't get to before in Sambisa.
Have they been able to access the Chad?
Chad, yes, operations are on, but not the kind of access that they had to Sambisa. Even the jet that came down, that they shot, we saw it recently, after more than a year, that it actually came down inside Sambisa, because the army went in, they took control of that vast area. Now they are killing one another. We are making progress. You are not hearing those reports that they are killing soldiers, they are attacking army like before. We are hearing positive news. The Tucanos are doing a good job. The army is really even going on the offensive now. That's what they are doing, which we've always pleaded that they should do.
Good.
But in the Northwest, that is where you can see that we are not there at all. And if the president is saying soon, he needs to define the soon. Let us know what he means by soon. Can soon be long after he has left office or no? Because from the look of things, if banditry, we cannot end banditry quickly at the pace that we are going.
The way banditry, the way they keep they're growing in number, these bandits, and the way they recruit people and everything, is something that we need more efforts.
Yeah. Yes. Let me just quickly go back to what the information minister said one time. He said we are technically defeated Boko Haram. Maybe we should start looking at it again now that maybe we have, because you discover that the Boko Haram insurgency, there's a reduction in their targets. In those days, they were in Abuja, they went to this building, UN building, they were everywhere, they were in Niger State, they bombed churches every Sundays like this.
Police headquarters.
Exactly. But we thank God this has greatly reduced. But I think to really wage this battle and to really ensure that they are actually defeated completely and stop the recruitment, the way you have mentioned now, there's also the need to adopt what is called the heart and mind strategy. The heart and mind strategy is a kind of strategy where you ensure that as the military, that are going there, you ensure that the community that where you are going also buy into why you are going there. Because if they don't buy into the idea of what you are going to do there,
because
they are
some
not
of
like
those communities that are sympathetic towards the cause of Boko Haram, because of they give them money, they give them food.
So you have to ensure that yes, you have to ensure that these communities buy into the reason why you are there. If the Boko Haram is doing this for them, you have to go the extra mile to also do something better than what Boko Haram is doing, so that they also support you.
You should feel the presence of government.
Exactly. Because if they are able to do this, that's the community I'm talking about. If they are able to do this, if the soldiers, the army, if they are able to do this, there will be a kind of empathy on the part of the community that they are part of, they are fighting a battle for us. But if they don't see the soldiers, the army as the army of liberation, there's no way they will support them, because Boko Haram, they know all the news and crannies of the community, and they can only do this. They can only support the army by taking them around, if they buy into what the army is doing. But if they don't buy into what the army is doing, there's no way they will help the army to or really defeat the Boko Haram. So there's a need to adopt that strategy, heart and mind strategy.
A lot of people will say that these guys, for a long time, they've not felt the presence and impact of government. That's why they are sympathetic towards the Boko Haram. That's why they are even shielding them. Some of these bandits and everybody, they live in the villages.
I think also some of them, especially in areas where Boko Haram is strong, some of them are doing it out of fear. Look at what happened in Zabamari that time. The people were accused of leaking information of their movement to the military. That was why Shekau went to that local government, that Mafa, to slaughter more than 60 people at once. He claimed that they gave information to the army, and that may not have been true. But he just came and killed those farmers, those rice farmers. So I think out of fear sometimes, they just decide not to talk.
We have a caller from Kebbi State, I think Oshoma. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Oshoma. Hello? Are you there? Okay. Please go ahead.
I'm with you. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Hello,
Oshoma.
good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. I really want to appreciate your wonderful work. I really want to appreciate your wonderful work, and I also want to appreciate Oga Babajide, scholar, for his. I've been watching this program for a very long time, and I'm a fourth-time caller.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you, Oshoma. Thank you for your contribution. So as you were saying?
So in that Koshebe, where they slaughtered those farmers, he claimed that the Boko Haram guys claimed that they were the ones who told soldiers that their people were in that area. There was an attack by the army on them in that area. They killed some of them and recovered their motorbikes. They now came back and slaughtered those farmers, believing that it's those farmers that leak information to them. And at that point, you cannot explain. They just started taking them and cutting their necks one by one. No? So it's a terrible thing. On the issue of de-radicalization, I think a lot of people hate the fact that victims of banditry, victims of Boko Haram terror, they are in IDP camps. They have no food. They are hungry. Some of them have been living in IDP camps since 2014. They have nowhere to go. And then some people, in the name of being de-radicalized, you buy clothes for them, you give them free food, this and that, food that their victims do not have access to. That is what pains people. Now, look at innocent girls that they've put in the family way. People who are in school, SS2, SS3, they made them pregnant, they turned them to housewives at once. They ruined their lives. Who we atone for the sins that they committed. That's why we've had people say, okay, put them on trial for what they have done. They slept with minors, got minors pregnant, killed people. So it's going to be difficult no matter what.
Look at those young children that we went to go and meet.
Yes, orphans. Some as young as 4 years. Some they not even grow up to know their parents.
They don't know their
because
parents.
of the activities of these good-for-nothing terrorists. And then they will see people, all of these little boys that you are seeing, you know, some of them were born in the bush there. You will now see, some of them will now, after they claim that they have left the work,
Most of them
you
are
now see
drug
them.
addicts.
Yes, we can see. some of them, the reason they are surrendering is because they did not want to go and join ISWAP. So because one, if you are a commander under Shekau, by the time you get to ISWAP, they will not make you a commander again. The opportunities that you had before will be taken away. So some of them, rather than face that kind of humiliation or even possible death, they prefer to just surrender to the armed forces. This is what we are saying. So the moment Shekau was dislodged, there was an upsurge in the number of people saying that they are surrendering. That's what we are seeing.
Bolaji, I think we should look at the process of de-radicalizing these people and even integrating them. It's becoming something that government should pay attention to now.
Yeah, it's very important to pay attention to it because this kinetic approach to the fight against Boko Haram, not as good as it is, I don't know whether it's going to solve the problem completely. I think the idea of, if there are some of them that are saying that, okay, they want to live where they are, they have turned a new leaf, well, the government can look into that and encourage that because the kinetic approach is not going to solve the entire Boko Haram problem. There's the need to also ensure that we have other approaches to solve the problem because we've been on this matter for how many years now? And we are still here. We are. Boko Haram is still there. It's now more wide. It's taken a lot of time in the country, the time of the military, and so on. So it's very important that if there are other approaches that could be adopted, de-radicalizing them, I don't have any problem with that, but it has to be looked properly into. Because
we have to monitor them.
Yes, it is painful that some people that committed so much crime.
Try to be caution.
Yes, and you are not. But what do we do? We did that in the South when we have these people vandalizing pipelines, all those things, and their amnesty was granted to them, and we had a little bit of peace there. So if we can have something like this over there too, that people are coming back that say they don't want to engage this, then there's a problem.
All right, we have to leave it there. Thank you, Bolaji Tunji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution today. And Babajide Kolade Itnaji. Thank you, and welcome back from the Northeast.
Thank you.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Join us on Sunday, 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News, Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.